Joe Rogan has come out against Nancy Pelosi. This should be really interesting, what I'm about to show you. For those who are not aware, Nancy Pelosi is one of the Congress people, I'll say people here, that participate in insider trading. But what exactly is insider trading? Let me explain this to you, and then I'm going to get into the story about Joe Rogan and Nancy Pelosi. Because some people are like, what does this mean? Insider trading. What is insider trading? Insider trading involves trading in a public company's stock by someone who has non-public material information about that stock for any reason. Insider trading can be either illegal or legal depending on when the insider makes the trade. So that is insider trading. Just wanted to go ahead and put that out there for you. Nancy Pelosi is not the only one doing this. I'm going to get into that in just a second. But let's see what happened between Joe Rogan and Nancy Pelosi. Let me go ahead and cue this up for you. All right, here we go. I don't have Eric behind the scenes with me tonight, you guys, so bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right, guys. So listen to what Joe Rogan says here on his podcast about Nancy Pelosi's insider trading.
The amount of stock trading that's done by members of Congress, the amount of fucking money that they make when they know decisions that are going to be signed and passed. They know laws that are going to be put into place. They know, like there was one recently that we're talking about Nancy Pelosi and the amount of money she invested in Tesla right before Biden signed this EV bill, electric vehicle bill. It's like 1.2 million. Find out if that's true. It was like
they should all have to put their money in trusts while they're in office that are done in fucking mutual funds, index funds, things that are auto-generated buying and not individual stocks.
Well, insider trading is against the law.
Yeah.
How is that not insider trading?
Listen to this. Listen to what he says.
Right.
If you know that someone's going to sign a bill and that bill is going to be a massive boost to the electrical vehicle industry, just as an example, and you know that bill is going to be signed. So right before that bill signed, you buy a fuckload of stock in electrical vehicles. And then the next day or whenever it was, that bill gets passed and then that stock goes up and you make a shit ton of money. How is that not illegal? They put Martha Stewart in jail for stock trading. Remember that?
Right.
For illegal.
Okay, I'm going to let it play. I'm going to come back and address that, what he just said there in just a second, because that's actually not 100% correct. Yes, Martha Stewart was doing insider trading, but that's actually not what put her in jail. So I'll touch on that in just a second, but let's let him finish.
Insider trading?
Yeah.
How is it what the Congress does? How is that?
They should not be able to buy and sell individual stocks. That's
Especially
it.
not shit where they have
and then keep an eye on their
access.
fucking brother-in-law too, because they're
Exactly.
making some phone calls.
Exactly. Or their husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the Nancy Pelosi thing.
Yeah.
She's worth like $200 million. She makes a couple $100,000 a year.
Jesus. It's crazy.
The amount of stock trading that's done by members of Congress, the amount of fucking money that they make when they know decisions that are going to be signed and passed.
Notice he said congressman. So as I mentioned to you before this clip, it's not just Nancy Pelosi. She's just the only one that's being called out. I'm going to show you who some of the other congressmen and women are that are doing this as well. But just remember, it's not just her.
They know laws that are going to be put into place. They know, like there was one recently that we're talking about Nancy Pelosi and the amount of money she invested in Tesla right before Biden signed this EV bill, electric vehicle bill. It's like 1.2 million. Find out if that's true.
So I ask you, is that fair? Is that fair? I don't think that's fair. And who owns Tesla, you guys? Elon Musk. When I tell you that all these people are connected, all these people are connected. Politicians, millionaires, billionaires, they're all a part of the same club. They help each other, they assist each other, they work with each other. Let me go back in.
It was like
They should all have to put their money in trusts while they're in office that are done in fucking mutual funds, index funds, things that are auto-generated buying and not individual stocks.
Well, insider trading is against the law.
Yeah.
How is that not insider trading?
Right.
If you know that someone's going to sign a bill and that bill is going to be a massive boost to the electrical vehicle industry, just as an example, and you know that bill is going to be signed. So right before that bill's signed, you buy a fuckload of stock in electrical vehicles. And then the next day or whenever it was, that bill gets passed and then that stock goes up and you make a shit ton of money. How is that not illegal? They put Martha Stewart in jail for stock trading. Remember that?
Right.
So that's the part I wanted to address. That's actually, yes, she did insider trading, but this is what actually put her in jail. In 2002, Martha stepped down from her board of directors position at the New York Stock Exchange, because her legal team had struck a deal with Peter Bakanovic's assistant, Douglas Faneuil. 6 months later, in June of 2003, she was indicted on 9 counts, which included obstructing justice and security fraud. She stepped away from her CEO position, but remained on as the chief creative director. So this is something I'm not sure if a lot of people realize that or know about this, but it's actually that she actually, even though she did insider trading, what really put her in prison was security fraud and obstructing justice. There's more details about this. I can go into this another time, but that's just something to note. I just want people to be aware of that. I'm going to address this comment here. Sebastian says Nancy Pelosi is the symbol of liberal elitism in this country. Nancy, AOC, and many other influential politicians are the reason why people are leaving the Dems. 100%. Because the Democratic Party is supposed to be the party for working class, but it's not. They're there for elite people, Wall Street people. That's what's happening with the Democratic Party.
Illegal insider trading?
Yeah.
How is it what the Congress does? How is that?
They should not be able to buy and sell individual stocks. That's
Especially
it.
not shit where they have
And then keep an eye on their
access.
fucking brother-in-law too, because they're making some phone calls.
Exactly. Or their husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the Nancy Pelosi thing.
Yeah.
She's worth like $200 million. She makes a couple $100,000 a year.
That part right there. Did you guys hear what he just said? How much Nancy Pelosi is worth? Listen to it one more time.
She's worth like $200 million. She makes a couple $100,000 a year.
Nancy Pelosi is worth like $200 million. Now, congressmen and women do not make that salary. So she's getting her money from somewhere else. And I really wanted to touch on that. Now, to go into details about what she is actually doing, listen to this clip here. Now, of course, Fox is the one who reported on this. Of course, CNN and MSNBC aren't going to talk about it, but this is what we have. So this is where we go. Listen to this.
Welcome back. Podcaster Joe Rogan going after Democrat House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other members of Congress for something we've discussed plenty of, for lawmakers being allowed to own stock options while being in a position to regulate their industries, potentially profiting from it. Dagan, we've seen this over and over again, particularly with Nancy Pelosi and her husband. When did she first buy Tesla stock? And she's been pushing electric vehicles throughout. What about Microsoft right before we saw a major Department of Defense contract? What do you think?
Well, Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, who is a venture capitalist, owns, based on some reports, more than $2.5 million worth of shares in Tesla.
Guys, they just told you Nancy Pelosi's husband is a venture capitalist. Those people make a lot of money. A lot of money. Let's go back.
Tesla essentially wouldn't exist without direct subsidies from the federal government. And with her being the Speaker of the House for now, that raises a huge conflict of interest. And to Joe Rogan's point, I'll always side with Rogan, particularly over that privileged, sniveling germaphobe known as Howard Stern. There's nothing wrong with people owning mutual funds. When I started working as a journalist almost 30 years ago, a financial journalist, I've always owned mutual funds and never owned individual stocks to make sure, or exchange traded funds now, to make sure that there wasn't any conflict of interest.
That's right. Me too. I did the same thing. Mutual funds are exchange traded funds. Why can't Nancy Pelosi own ETFs, Steve? You'll get the diversity, or a mutual fund like Dagan. You get the diversity, but you don't have the power over individual companies like Tesla, which she's a big owner of, and she's going to decide their fate with the regulatory framework she comes up with. It's a joke.
And this is why, and for people who are not aware, I do want to let you know, congressmen and congresswomen are not supposed to do insider trading. In fact, there was a law. I'm going to pull this up for you in just a second. But there is a law that was put in place. It was done under the Obama administration, actually, that prohibits congressmen and women from doing insider trading. Yet not only is Nancy Pelosi doing this, but other congressmen and women are doing it too. And I'm going to get into that after I go through this clip. So let's go back in.
The whole ethics thing in Congress is a bit of a joke. The fact of the matter is there are laws on the books about insider trading. And if they had a real ethics committee, they would be investigating that and putting on sanctions for violations. But the laws are on the books, but they're not enforced, which deepens public cynicism about Congress because they make laws for us, but don't obey them themselves.
That's true, but I'm going to tell you how Fox News is being biased here. What they're not mentioning is that there are also Republican congressmen and women who are doing the same thing. They're not mentioning that. See, this is where the bias comes in, right? Because what they just told you there, that's true. That's correct. What they said about Nancy Pelosi, what they said about insider trading for congressmen and women, that is true. The bias part is that they are only mentioning the Democrat that's doing it, and they're not mentioning the Republicans that are doing it as well. This is what they do. This is what Fox News does. This is what CNN does. This is what MSNBC does. They'll mention the people that are doing wrong on the other team, but they won't mention the people that are doing wrong on their team. That's how it works. I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to show you who those other congressmen and women are.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I'll say it again. Right. I've said it before. We need term limits in Congress. But unfortunately, These are the folks that are going to decide whether there will be term limits.
What Steve just said, though, it comes down to how they treated the rest of us during COVID. Rules for thee, but not for me. People are sick of it.
That's right.
But both parties do that. Both parties do that. Sorry, but it's true. All right, let me get to some of these super chats, and then I'm going to go to that article. Thank you so much for the super chat, Disco Phil. But Pelosi told Wolf Blitzer she is for the working class. She did, right? When's the last time Pelosi was working class? I don't think she was ever working class. Remember, her father was a politician out of Baltimore. She was born into a political family. And for those who are not aware, Gavin Newsom is also related to Nancy Pelosi, and he is the governor of California. Imagine that. Thanks for the super chat. Andrew says Rogan, in my opinion, could be an ally of the working class. Libs say, but he didn't say Trump bad. Jink the Penguin Uger says, I'll fight Rogan. You call him a penguin. No, you did not, Andrew. No, you didn't. Oh my gosh. Lonely Weirdo says you shouldn't be allowed to make laws that benefit you. 100%. 100%. I agree. Leroy says we feed them. Eric says Democrats equal Republicans. 100%. And Leroy says political dynasties make my skin crawl. Yeah, I don't like political dynasties either. That's suspect to me. Okay, who are those other congressmen and women that are also guilty of insider trading? So let me go ahead and pull this up for you. By the way, this is coming from Business Insider. They would know, right? All right, here we go. 59 members of Congress have violated a law designed to stop insider trading and prevent conflicts of interest. 59. That's a lot. I'm not going to show you all of them. You guys would kill me. I'd have you here all night. But here we go. Insider and several other news organizations have identified 59 members of Congress who've recently failed to properly report their financial trades as mandated by the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act of 2012. This is also known as the Stock Act. So this is the law I was referring to that was put in place under the Obama administration. So just FYI, the Stock Act. So here we go. Congress passed the law a decade ago to combat insider trading and conflict of interest among their own members and force lawmakers to be more transparent about their personal financial dealings. A key provision of the law mandates that lawmakers publicly and quickly disclose any stock trade made by themselves, a spouse, or a dependent child. So anyone in their immediate family. But many members of Congress have not fully complied with the law. You don't say. They offer excuses, including ignorance of the law, clerical errors, and mistakes by an accountant. Sounds like something someone would do who's trying to commit some type of white collar crime. Insider has chronicled this widespread nature of this phenomenon in a new project called Conflicted Congress. While lawmakers who violate Stock Act face a fine, the penalty is usually small. $200 is the standard amount or waived by the House or Senate ethics officials. So this is part of the problem. Even though they have the Stock Act in place, the penalty is small. They're making six figures. They can pay $200. That's nothing to them. You know how many perks they get as being a member of Congress? So you slap on that little fine for them based on all the stocks that they're going to get in return. That's nothing for them. So yes, the Obama administration put this in place, but it's not like the punishment is severe enough to prevent them from doing it. So there you go. Again, looking out for each other. Quick shout out to Frank Johnson, who just became a Sabby member. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. All right, Frank. So let's go back in. I want to give you names. Here we go. Surprise, surprise. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see. All right. Here are some of the people doing this, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Dianne Feinstein. Are you surprised? Democrat. Tommy Tuberville. He's a Republican. Roger Marshall, a Republican. He's from Kansas. Rand Paul, a Republican from Kentucky. This is what I'm telling you. It's not just Democrats. There were Republicans too. When you notice in that Fox News segment, you didn't hear them mention any of the Republicans who were doing the same thing. Rand Paul. Let's go on. Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democrat. That doesn't remind me. He's horrible, by the way. He is horrible. Mark Kelly from Arizona, also a Democrat. Cynthia Loomis, a Republican from Wyoming. Oh, they're naming names. Tom Malinowski, a Democrat from New Jersey. Let's go down. Pat Fallon, a Republican from Texas. There's a lot of them. Diana Harshberger, a Republican from Tennessee. Susie Lee, Democrat of Nevada. Catherine Clark, she's from my state, Massachusetts. Shame on you, Catherine. Shame on you. Let's go down. Blake Moore, Republican from Utah. Mickey Sherrill, Democrat from New Jersey. Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama. Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland. They're all corrupt. They're so crooked. Dan Crenshaw, Republican from Texas. Kathy Manning, Democrat from North Carolina. Kevin Hearn, Republican from Oklahoma. And lo and behold, Debbie Weiserman Schultz, a Democrat from Florida. We should have known she would be here. Not Miss Corrupt Debbie Weiserman Schultz. And I'll stop there. It is a long list. I'm going to put a link to this list in the chat because we'll be here all night if I go through everyone. But if you're interested in checking that out, the link is in the chat. I just put that there. But let's go back to the money situation. Where is Nancy Pelosi getting all that money from? How is she worth $200 million? Well, Joe Rogan has some things to say about that. And I know people have criticism of Joe Rogan, and rightfully so, but he's right about this. Let me share my screen here. I haven't said that in so long, you guys. Sorry, but like Eric's not here and I didn't feel comfortable using the system by myself. I figured I'd mess it up. All right. Where did Nancy Pelosi's money come from? Here we go.
I was looking at that. What's that crazy lady's name? Laura Loomer, the lady that jumped Nancy Pelosi's fence.
Oh, yeah.
She camped out on her yard. You know what made me think? Like, how the fuck's Nancy Pelosi own that house? Where's she getting all that cash?
Yeah. What's her net worth now? A couple $100 million.
Really?
I forget. I mean,
to do what? Is she in business?
she came from a hardcore political family in Baltimore, I think. And
There's so much dirty money out there.
she's been doing. She's
What?
100 million. I was way
that's
off.
us. She's worth $100 million.
Estimated, but that's like, I don't know if it's one of those
Online
online
net
Net worth.
million.
100 million.
bullshit
Where
net
does she
worth.
And keep in mind, this was, okay, I see a comment 3 years ago. Okay, one of the oldest comments I see is from 3 years ago. So this was 3 years ago. She's now worth 200 million. So just keep that in mind. Let him finish.
Get her money from?
Wow.
You got
Maybe
some-
she. You know what?
something
Maybe she's
planned
good
in
at
the
just
background, Jamie.
keeping her per diem. She doesn't
Yeah,
spend her
that's
per
all it
diem or
is. Just the per
stipend.
diem.
Yeah.
What I mean, what's her national or her annual salary? Well, she just started getting it for this job.
Wouldn't it be?
450 grand.
Wow. No. That's the net worth of
Oh.
average net worth or median net worth of
Net worth.
congresspersons.
Okay.
Congressperson. So it can't be anything higher than an SIS something. So it's probably not more than 180 something.
It's all her good work she did with the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, Speaker of the House gets 223,000.
200 grand. She's worth $100 million. What in the holy fuck is that? How's that?
And she does have a big wall around her place.
Yeah. Not enough to keep Laura Loomer's not an athlete.
She
It's not like she's
vaulted right over that son of a
Yes,
bitch.
it's not like she's a parkour athlete. How the fuck did she get over that?
Didn't she
thing?
show up with some illegals, illegal immigrants or whatever, undocumented workers, whatever
Did
we
she?
use?
She chained herself to Twitter. I know she did that too. That broad.
That's right.
She's going hard for attention. It's very interesting when these people just try so hard to make it into the news.
Yeah, well, they're looking for a contributor slot. They're looking for on one network or another. I think that's what they're
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
You have to nowadays. I think that
So listen to this part again. Here we go.
yeah.
You know, I was looking at that. What's that crazy lady's name? Laura Loomer, the lady that jumped Nancy Pelosi's fence.
Oh yeah.
And she camped out on her yard. You know what made me think? Like, how the fuck's Nancy Pelosi own that house? Where's she getting all that cash?
Yeah. What's her net worth now? A couple $100 million.
Really?
I forget. I mean,
to do what? Is she in business?
she came from a hardcore political family in Baltimore, I think. And
There's so much dirty money out there.
she's been doing. She's
What?
100 million. I was way
That's
off.
us. She's worth $100 million.
Estimated, but that's like, I don't know if it's one of those online
net worth.
million.
100 million.
bullshit
Where
net
does she
worths
get her
or-
money from?
Wow.
You got
Maybe
some-
she, you know what?
something
Maybe she's
playing
good
in
at
the
just
background, Jamie.
keeping her per diem. She doesn't
Yeah,
spend her
that's
per
all it
diem or
is. It's the
stipend.
per diem.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's her or annual salary? Well, she just started getting it for this job.
Wouldn't it be
450 grand?
wow. No, that's the net worth of average net worth or median net worth of congresspersons.
Okay.
Congressperson. So it can't be anything higher than an SIS something. So it's probably not more than 180 something.
It's all her good work she did with the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, Speaker of the House gets 223,000.
200 grand. She's worth $100 million. What in the holy fuck is that? How is that?
And she does have a big wall.
How is that even possible? How is that even possible? Now you see why she has these refrigerators full of ice cream. She can afford it. That's how much Nancy Pelosi is worth. Where did the money come from? Let's see. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. She didn't make that money from Congress. All right, I was a little bit off, but here we go. Look, I'm going to show you something. She's not alone. She's not alone. Watch this. All right. List of current members of the United States Congress by wealth. Nancy Pelosi, 114.7 million. Let me make this a little bit larger for you in the back. Nancy Pelosi, 114.7 million. John Hoeven, 93.4. Dianne Feinstein, here we go, 87.9. So, if I'm not mistaken, aren't Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi in the same district? I think they live near each other, if I'm not mistaken. It's very expensive to live there. Very expensive in San Francisco. Who's 1 through 9, Yasmin? Let's see. Well. Let me zoom in so you guys can see all these people. Rick Scott is number 1. He's the Republican from Florida, 259.7 million. Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, 214.1 million. Greg Gianforte, I hope I pronounced his name right, Republican from Montana, 189.3. Paul Mitchell, Republican from Michigan, 179.6. Mitt Romney, well. Mitt Romney's in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Not holier than thou, Mitt Romney. He's in the top 5. 174.5 million. Again, these are the millions we're talking about here. Vernon Buchanan, 157.2 million. Mike Braun, 136.8 million. Don Breyer, 124.9 million. Dean Phillips, 123.8 million. And Nancy Pelosi rounds out the top 10. It's disgusting when you think about it. It's really disgusting. I'm going to go to some of the comments. So let's do that. Frank Johnson, who just became a Sabby member, says John Kerry is a Forbes on his mother's side. I didn't know that. I was not aware of that. See, this is the thing. One of the things I've been trying to tell people, a lot of these news commentators that you see on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, and a lot of the politicians, especially the older politicians that have been there for a while, a lot of them are coming from families that have money. They're coming from wealthy families. Nancy Pelosi came from a political family, a wealthy family. Like, it's not, you don't see many Cori Bushes up in there, okay? You don't really see it like that. And when you look at the media, they're also coming from wealthy families a lot of times. Anderson Cooper is a Vanderbilt. Look them up. Chris Cuomo, his dad, Mario Cuomo, he was a politician also. A lot of these people were already connected. They come from wealthy families. It was easier for them to get in. And don't think that they're not going to the same country clubs and the same wine events as these politicians. Just keep that in mind. Frank Johnson also said Mitt Romney's Vulture Capital Company is the one that destroyed Toys R Us. Well, well, well. Frank Johnson, you seem to know a lot. Welcome. I Hate Work 420 said it's a big club and you're not in it. 100%. Megan Morales says, hi all. If I recall correctly, Pelosi used to babysit the Kennedy's boys when she was young. I heard that, Megan. I heard that too. I was trying to find that somewhere so I can have some receipts, but I've heard that as well. Ben said, I never knew that. Yeah, all these people are connected, man. Wealthy people are connected like that. They have events that some of us have never heard of and will never hear of, unless you're a part of that group. Leroy said, Gianforte is the guy who body slammed a reporter on camera and still won his election. That guy. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.